close to your resolution if you want my opinion.
Hey everybody, welcome back. This is the 4-Star Knits, a knitting podcast, although I do tend to blather on about other things that have nothing to do with knitting, so consider yourselves warned. I am I guess not so single mama anymore. I live with my fiance and our 3 teenage boys in Chicagoland. Also our dog Beckett, can't forget Beckett. And yeah, and so that's pretty much my intro. Oh, you can find me on Instagram as the 4-Star Knits. You can find me on Ravelry as the 4th Star. Guys, I'm just gonna be real with you right now. Things are kind of a mess here, and so this podcast is probably going to be a reflection of that, because I am just, what you see is what you get with me. So if things are messy in my life, then I'm going to be kind of a mess, and there you go. So anyway, yeah, what else do I usually say in my intro as I look at my dog thinking that he's gonna help me? He's not gonna help me. He's sleeping and farting, mostly farting. It smells really bad in here, you guys. Don't ever let your dog have McDonald's French fries. Not even one, not even half of one. Seriously, it smells like a toxic waste dump in here. I'm sure you are all very glad that you know that now. Anyway, so here in Chicagoland, it is snowing. You can see there's quite a bit of snow on my patio furniture and my roof. It's been snowing all day and it's beautiful outside. It's that lovely snowy blue color that I feel like you only get to see if you live in an area that gets a pretty decent quantity of snow. And yeah, like I said, things are kind of a mess right now. I think I have said this before, but so one of my kids has a chronic illness, which I don't talk about because I don't get into particulars because it's his condition, not mine, to protect his privacy, blah, blah, blah. And I think I said this in one of my other podcasts, but if you have a kid or you're a caretaker for somebody who has chronic issues, there comes a time where you can sort of sense that the universe is about to knock you on your butt with an issue, right? Like, especially if the person that you're taking care of has episodes, or there's ups and downs with their illness or levels that need to be maintained, things like that. And you can just tell when things are about to go really awry. And I was having that feeling for most of December, and by golly, everything just hit the fan last weekend, and poor kid landed in the hospital in the ER, which of course is the last place you want to be right now with COVID. So things have just been, this poor kid, just the stuff he's got to go through, it's just awful. So anyway, with that said, this is, I think, the 3rd time I've tried to record this episode, and again, life has just been really difficult. So I'm finally getting a little bit of peace and quiet at the house. The kids are at their dad's this weekend, so I've been able to actually take some time and record. And yeah, I have nothing organized. I did not review my notes, so buckle up, guys. This is gonna be a fun one. So let's just get right into the knitting, because I think that's why you guys are here, right? Mostly for the knitting, not to listen to me and my insane ramblings. Yes, I am drinking crappy light beer right now. I'm not above that, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. That's the place I'm in right now. So, like I said, bear with me, guys. Oh, that tastes awful. Anyway, let's talk about finished objects, because I have, how many do I have? I have 2, and actually I just remembered one of them is in my closet. So hang tight, be right back. Finished object number 1. This is the Close to You shawl, which is by somebody whose name I don't remember right now. I will make sure to put it in the bar below. This is a free pattern on Ravelry. This was actually recommended to me by one of you lovely subscribers, so thanks for that. This was a really easy knit. I started this a while ago. I had put it down for a while because frankly I just kind of got bored with it. But being that, my whole world went to pieces for a couple weeks there, this was a really, really nice knit because it was so simple and mindless. And yeah, it was exactly what I needed. So I was kind of glad that I had put it down and that it was just there in one of my project bags waiting for the right time for me to finish it. And the right time came. So yeah, this is it. Really cute, right? I love this part here. For some reason, it kind of reminds me of like a dragon wing or something like that. It's got a really cute like picot bind off. You know, there's some really cute details that make it a little different than like your average shawl. But yeah, really pretty. I knit this in I don't remember the name of the yarn. It was part of that like thrift store haul from an age ago. I don't know if I still have the tag. If I find it while I'm editing, I'll throw the name in here, but it's a bamboo blend. So I was really excited to knit with it. This is my first time knitting with anything with bamboo in it. This is super light. It's very airy. It's very breathable. And it's like, I don't know, it feels like you're wearing nothing. Like there's no weight to it at all. It's great. So I can foresee this being like a spring and summertime knit piece. And yes, we do wear knits in the summer here in the Midwest because we're either awesome like that or terrible like that, however you want to look at it. But yes, I do wear knitted pieces all year round. So this is going to be definitely a spring and summer one. But it's nice now inside because it's just a little bit, you know, around your neck, but like not too heavy. But yeah, I really, really like it. The blocking of this was really interesting. So basically it looks the same now as it did before I blocked it. Like I have the points I kind of pulled out a little bit to accentuate that, but by and large, I really didn't need to block this at all. I wasn't sure like how it was gonna look once it was blocked. So I did soak it to block it and like laid it out and everything. But knowing now how this goes, I probably could have just steam blocked this and pulled the points out a little bit and called it a day. So I'm very, very happy with that one. Super cute, very easy knit. I did end up using pretty much the entire skein, and it was just a regular skein. I don't know where the tag is, I'm sorry. So I don't know exactly how much yarn it was, and I did knit this on a little bit bigger of needles than is required in the pattern. I think I knit these on 9s. I don't know. I'll update this project page. This is one of many project pages that needs updates from me. So I'll put that on the project page, but it gave it more of an open, airy gauge, which I think was perfect for this particular kind of yarn. So there you go, a finished object, hooray. The other finished object I have are my magic heel socks. I finally finished them. Well, I didn't weave in the ends, but you know, let's not focus on that right now. So I finished my magic heel socks, and they fit awesome. And I will insert some footage of me dancing around in these babies so you can kind of see how they fit my feet. But so this is the one I blocked. This is the one I did not block yet. And the reason I did that was so you can kind of see like when you're knitting, this is kind of what you end up with. And once you block it, if you have, you know, sock shapers, I think that's kind of the way to go, because you really don't have, this is a very unique heel construction. So you don't really have, I guess the architecture that you have with the heel flap and gusset where it's like very defined. It's not like that. So you kind of have to, it forms to whatever shape you're in. Like if you put this on a banana, it would look like a banana. Not that bananas are really this big. I don't know where I was going with that, but let's not keep going wherever that was. But yeah, again, I can't say enough good things about this pattern. I was chatting with Judy and I sent her a note and I mentioned again, like, I really wish that this pattern would have been around when I was learning how to knit socks, because I think it would have given me a lot of confidence early on learning how to knit socks, because it's very, very simple and you basically learn all of the major points of constructing a sock except for the traditional heel. So it kind of gives you a way to start learning, you know, how to do a sock without this kind of scary bit here, which I know is the part where, at least when I'm teaching people how to knit socks, or, you know, like when I was learning how to knit socks, this was the scary bit right here, because it just, if you've never done it before, it's just a lot. So if you're somebody who's thinking about getting into knitting socks, or you're a new sock knitter and you're frustrated with how socks are knit, try this pattern. It's only a few bucks on Ravelry. It's really, really clear, easy to follow, and you are gonna end up with a brand new pair of hand knitted socks quicker than you could ever think. It's very satisfying, so highly recommend. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say about that. I knit these in, this is more unknown yarn. I'm trying to use up a little bit of like my older stash, so there's some yarns that I've lost the labels to. I don't remember where this one came from, this beautiful orange color. But this is Knitted Wet Victory sock. This is just some leftovers from, I think, the Coffee Talk socks that I knit last year. So yeah, just used up some odds and ends, and they turned out really, really cute. I'm very, very happy. So yes, I will dance around in these for you guys for a little bit, so you can see that, and then I can finish blocking the other one and weave in the ends and put these into my regular rotation. But they are super comfortable. I'm very, very happy with these. So the pattern is very forgiving. So if you're kind of new to sock knitting and you don't know exactly like what your size is, or like, you know, haven't like fine-tuned that whole thing yet, there's a lot of grace built into this pattern, so you can't really mess it up. It's awesome. So Magic Heel Socks by Judy from Acorn, the Autumn Acorn podcast, and I will link all of her details below so you can find her stuff. So next up, I want to talk about whips. And you know, this really wouldn't be the Fourth Star Knits podcast if there wasn't some kind of knitting disaster on the horizon. And so I am not here to disappoint anybody. So there is a knitting disaster on the horizon, which I will share with you all. So stay tuned for that. But first, let's talk about the whip that didn't send me into a flying rage. Let's start there. How about that? So I cast on Morning Coffee Socks by Kaylin, and she's the crazy sock lady, for those of you who don't know. And I think I got this pattern, I did get this pattern when she was doing her pattern sale around, I think it was Christmas time. And yeah, this is a super cute pattern. I'm really excited to dive into this. So I just cast this one on. So all I've got is a little bitty cuff. And you'll notice that this color is not part of my normal color palette. And that's because these socks are not for me. They are for my mom. And I don't think she watches this podcast, so hopefully she doesn't see this episode. And this is a surprise. Her birthday's coming up. Her birthday's in March, so it's right around the corner. Hang on, I'm just throwing stuff everywhere, you guys. Told you, this episode's gonna be a hot mess. And so I got this yarn from Whimsy Stitches last year, and I think this is called, I think the colorway is Paris Pinks. I don't know, I lost the tag already. I'm a bad podcaster. But super cute, and it's got some bling in it. How fun is that? My mom's very blingy. She likes all the sparkly things, so I think this is gonna be right up her alley. I'm very excited to see how this knits up. There's like speckles of like really vibrant neon pink in there, and black, and some really good splashes of purple. Yeah, very girly, very cute. So I'm working on those. Hopefully I'll have more to show on those the next episode. Like I said, I just cast those on. And now let's talk about the sweater debacle, because it always feels like I have a sweater debacle, doesn't it? I feel like I say that a lot on this podcast. Maybe I should rename this knitting podcast to Sweater Debacles. Yeah, I like how that sounds, actually. I might do that at some point. We'll see. I think designing a logo for that would be absolutely hilarious and awesome. Anyway. So if you recall, I had a whole bunch of sweaters in my queue. And I bought yarn for all of this stuff like pretty much at the same time. So I had the Sildotna crop, the lace sweater, whose name I can never pronounce correctly, the Felix pullover, and the City Limits sweater. So this is the City Limits sweater. I'm terrified of the lace sweater, and not just because I cannot pronounce the name to save my soul, just the every time I look at the charts, like my heart starts to like do things that probably somebody of my age, their heart shouldn't be doing. So anyway, I'm not gonna make the lace sweater. I've decided. I'm just gonna let that one go. But the City Limits sweater, let me show you what's going on with this. So I cast on the sweater, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago. It was like right after I released the last episode of this podcast. And I cast on, and the first time I cast on the wrong number of stitches. Easy mistake, right? So instead of decreasing my way out of it, I decided to just unravel it, start over. No big deal. The second time I neglected to include, there are some purl stitches when you're setting up for the raglan increases included in this pattern. I did not include them, so I had to rip it back. The third time, I somehow completely forgot how to do short row shaping. I can't even explain to you what happened. I just ended up with a complete and utter mess, had completely lost my spot, didn't know where the short rows were. It was just terrible. So I thought, okay, well, maybe I'm just distracted. I'm going to write out all of the short row shaping. So let me show you how serious this got, okay? And I don't think this is giving away anything about the pattern, because this is just pretty much typical short row shaping. I wrote out, there's 4 pages here of short row shaping. I wrote out every single step. I color coded the increases so I would remember which direction I was going, and I even wrote out how to make one right and make one left, because apparently I couldn't remember how to do that either. So I had this, and I ended up with the most beautiful short row shaping I have ever done in my life. And this was particularly important on this sweater because the sweater is designed to be reversible. So you really want to make sure that your stitches and your increases and everything is very, very tidy, not just on the right side, but also on the wrong side. So I had made the tidiest short row shaping I have ever done in my life. And this sweater also it's going to have a very beautiful fade. So this is how far I got. Okay. Beautiful short rows. Like, I'm just so happy with how neat and tidy these stitches are. Like, I don't think I've ever done such a nice job. And this was also kind of difficult because this is 2 strands of fingering weight yarn held together so that it becomes basically worsted weight. And I find when I'm working with multiple strands of yarn, it's even more difficult to be tidy when I'm doing increases and things like that. Anyway, so I'm going along. I'm feeling really, really good about this. And I started the first color change. So you can see now there's some darker spots in here. And I'm starting to fade and I'm getting so excited. And I decided to kind of like lay out my work. And I'm like straightening it and like turning it and straightening it. And then I'm straightening it some more. And it's just never really straight. And I'm twisting it and I'm straight. And then I realize I knit a Mobius strip. I was so focused on my short row shaping. I don't even know how many rows this is. This is probably like 40 rounds, maybe. Yeah, I'd say about 40 rounds. Never once noticed that I had twisted my work at the very beginning when I joined the gosh darn round. How's that for you? Only me, you guys, only me. So I realized this as I was sitting here with my fiance, and I'm a pretty calm person, but I will tell you, I lost my stuff on this one. I lost it. I was so mad. I was stomping around. I was so mad. I went into the kitchen and started angry cleaning. Like, I don't know if this is something that other folks do, but when I'm truly upset about something, like really, really angry, I will angry clean. Like, I will scrub the living daylights out of my floor. I will attack my counters with a spray bottle in a way that is probably not good for them. Like, I will work out my issues with cleaning products. So I was like angry cleaning. My fiance's like avoiding me. Like, I don't even want to know what's wrong with you. It was bad. I was so mad. So this project has been sitting in yarn purgatory. I couldn't even look at it for, I would say, 2 weeks. I mean, I didn't even want to deal with it. So I have not ripped this back. Here's the other thing. When you're ripping back multiple, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, God bless America. Multiple whatever. I'm using more than one thread of yarn. It's not the word I'm looking for, but I know what it is. Hopefully you guys know what I'm trying to say. It just gets tangled. It's a mess. You basically have to have multiple people, right? Like each one holding a ball of yarn and winding it up. And the last time I unraveled it, I ended up having to cut it apart because it was such a knotted up mess. So I fear that that is going to happen again because this is a lot to rip back. Very disappointed in myself, but I feel like I'm in a place emotionally, spiritually, where I can now move on, rip this back, start over. My short rows will be just as beautiful this time as they were with this mess. It will all be okay. I think I'm ready and think I'm there. So anyway, a little bit more about this project. Again, this is the City Limit sweater. This is by Tanis Fiber Arts, and I will link all of her stuff below. And this is a beautiful, there's a beautiful fade built into this, and I am going to knit this with all Direful yarns. And she is based somewhere in Illinois. I think she's in the western suburbs of Chicago. But she supplies my not so local yarn store, which is my favorite yarn store, Elgin Knitworks. That is where I was introduced to her yarns because they carry a lot of her stuff there. So here, I'll show you the colors I'm doing. So the first color, the lightest color is this one. This is called Hippogriff. And then we're gonna change to Dark Magic. And then I'm not sure if I'm gonna do Camp Crystal Lake or Trick or Treat. One of these will be nice. This is gonna be such a wild fade, you guys. I have no idea how it's gonna turn out. I think it's gonna look crazy, but I'm really excited. And then the very bottom of the sweater is gonna be this gorgeous blue that I love called Ravenwood. So yeah, super, super stoked about this. Yeah, just really angry at my my incompetence on this part, but like I said, I'm ready to move on. It's gotten so dark outside, you guys. It's only been, I've been recording for like 20 minutes. It's already just so dark. Anyway, so I want to talk about this other project that I'm getting ready to cast on just because I'm super excited about it, and this is where I talk about the knitting stuff that I'm excited about. So I mentioned on a previous episode, I was talking about the Magic Heel socks, and then I mentioned this other pattern that Judy had written called the Frost Fairy Jacket, and I was like in love with this pattern. It was so beautiful. She just released it. Anyway, Judy very kindly gifted me the pattern, and as it turns out, all of the yarn that I bought for the lace sweater, which scares the crap out of me, and I'm not gonna make that sweater. I've just decided, at least not right now. I'm not in a place to deal with lace charts right now. We'll just leave it at that. But the yarn that I bought for that sweater is gonna work for the Frost Fairy Jacket. And so basically I feel like the universe just conspired to bring all of these things together so that I would knit the sweater that I was meant to have. And so this is the yarn. This is, where did I get this? I think I just got this from Webs. This is Cloudborne Fibers, and it is called Smoke Heather, and this is the Wool Bulky Naturals. So yeah, so this is actually like exactly the right weight. I bought a ton of it, and I have more than enough for the sweater. I'm super excited. So I need to wind this into balls, and yeah, I'm gonna cast that on probably I think I might actually cast it on tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see how busy it is tomorrow. I have the day off. It's Martin Luther King Day tomorrow, so I'm not working. And the kids are still at their dad's, so yeah, it might be a good day for a new cast on. So I'm really excited about that. And that's pretty much all I have on the needles right now. I have one other shawl that's languishing that I just have no desire to pick back up. I'm just not enjoying the yarn that I'm working with. And I still have Brian's socks, which I promised him I was gonna finish, and I just haven't gotten back to, but I'll get them done. I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it for a while there. So, but that's pretty much it. Other than that, I've pretty much tidied up all of my projects. Things are very organized at the moment, so I'm feeling very good about that. And so speaking of organization, oh, this is a great segue. I love a good segue. I think I mentioned on a previous episode that I'm a big planner. I use Happy Planners for pretty much everything, and I really, really like them. But I was looking for something separate to use for my knitting and for this podcast too, because right now I have a bullet journal that I use for work and for brain dumps and things like that. And I was sort of putting my show notes or episode notes and ideas and stuff kind of in that notebook. But there's just so much. Like I want to be more organized with my episode notes first of all. So like it's okay to just scribble down ideas wherever, but like once I actually get to planning out the episode, like I would like to move away from the hot mess model that I seem to be embracing right now. So I'd like to just, I just want to plan things out a little better. Plus, I really want to plan out my knitting year a little better. I really enjoyed doing gift knits this past Christmas, but I found myself wishing that I had started that process a lot earlier because it wasn't difficult to knit things for people. I just ran out of time, but it took less time to make the things that I wanted to make for people than I thought. I just wanted to make more things for more people. So I only managed to make 2 hats for gift knits for Christmas. And I think if I started that process a lot earlier, I would, be able to gift more knits, basically. I don't know how many more times I'm gonna say gift knits. But in that vein, so let me show you what I got. Lisa from the Stop Drop and Knit podcast tagged me on Instagram, and there was an ad for this planner here. And this is called the Knitter's Planner. And these folks also do the Quilter's Planner, which is a planner for people who quilt. And this is like exactly what I was looking for. And if you guys are interested, once I fill this out a little bit more, because I'm still working on it, I can film like a walkthrough. If you're into planning and knitting planning and you kind of want to see how I'm using this, I can do that. So let me know if you're interested in that kind of thing. But so basically you get, all the months in the front here. And you can choose what kind of pages you want in here. I chose dot grid because I'm a bullet journaler and I like dot grid stuff, and so that's what I chose. And it's very open-ended, so this works great for me who's like, I'm a big scribbler. I like not to be confined into boxes when I'm writing down ideas and things like that, so this is really good for me. And it's cute. They have they highlight a bunch of patterns here in the photography for the month tabs, which is really cute. It tells you what the pattern is and where you can find it. So there's lots of pattern inspo in here as well. And then they also include some graphing paper. So if you're, you use that when you're designing or planning or knitting or whatever, there's graph paper. So you get 12 months here. There's some free patterns in the back, which I will not show. So if you get this, you can be surprised like I was. There's more graph paper, and then there's a whole project section. And this is very cool. There's basically it's just projects at a glance. So I really liked this because, for one thing, I'm just old-fashioned. I like to write things down. Like, I like Ravelry, and I love like keeping photos of my work there, but I'm a big list maker. So this is going to be really good for me as far as just like kind of like dumping in like all the projects that I want to do for the year in one place, just writing them down the old-fashioned way. And so there's a projects at a glance, and then there's some more detailed project pages, which are very, very cool. So basically it's like a hard copy version of Ravelry. So if you like to do things the old-fashioned way, this might be your jam. So I'm pretty excited about that. There's a yarn stash organizer in here as well, right? So it's just kind of a nice way to like, especially at the beginning of the year, just write down what you have and what you're thinking about working on, and just, you know, kind of review, you know, I don't know, I forget a lot of times like things that I'm working on, or like I might have bought a skein of yarn for something specific and then completely forgot about it, like had something in mind, and then, you know, I don't know, life happens, you forget. So I'm pretty excited to fill this out. And then in the back, there's a whole reference section, which for someone like me who can never remember the difference between make one left and make one right, like this is great. Very, very handy. So yeah, all in all, like this was, so thank you so much, Lisa, for tagging me in this, like, so I would know that this even existed, because yeah, very, very cool. So I'll link this below. Hopefully this will go on sale soon now that it's like halfway through January. Maybe you can snag one of these for cheaper than I did. But yeah, like I said, if you guys are interested, I can film like a walkthrough of the planner and how I'm using it. I'm not completely done like filling it out, obviously, because a lot of the pages I just showed you were blank. But yeah, I've been working on that slowly but surely. So I wanted to share that. And then I have just a whole bunch of happy mail. Yeah, there's just a bunch of things found their way to me, so I'm just gonna kind of go through those and show you all the stuff that's been showing up in the mail. First things first. So I have a pretty large family. There's 7 kids just in my family, and you know, we all have boyfriends, girlfriends, significant others, partners, etc. And so instead of trying to buy everybody Christmas presents every year, we basically do Secret Santa amongst like the kids and, you know, our partners, just so, because otherwise it would just be an ungodly amount of presents. So my little brother's girlfriend, Lizzie, picked my name out of the hat this year, and her mom owns an alpaca farm. So I got alpaca yarn. Isn't this so beautiful? Oh my gosh, I hope you can see the color. It looks a little yellow. Hopefully I can correct it in editing, but isn't that so pretty? It is like the most lovely, like cinnamony color, and this is just the color of the animal. Isn't that so cool? It is so soft, you guys. Oh my goodness. I don't know what I'm gonna make with this. I'm thinking a lace shawl, maybe. I don't know. It'll have to be something really delicate and beautiful and drapey, because this is just like you can't make socks out of this. It would be a crime to make socks out of this. But anyway, so Lizzie's mom's business is called Picasso Alpacas, and yeah, I don't know if she's really selling this yarn widely. I checked out her Facebook page, and so I don't really know if you can get this yarn, but I'll put her details below if you're interested. So this is alpaca. It's 2.1 ounces, 335 yards, and it's fingering weight, but yeah, beautiful. I was so excited to open this. Like, I'm sure Lizzie thought I was completely nuts, but like, yeah, I was very, very excited. Yeah, and she has, her alpaca farm it's Northern Illinois. I think it's in Freeport, somewhere outside of Rockford, I think. I think it is. Anyway, I'll put all the details below. But yeah, so I got this for Christmas. I wanted to share. Then, and thank you. I can't remember. It was one of you fine people who let me know, because I was behind and watching my podcast, that I had won a giveaway from Yarn Curator, Naomi. Like, I don't know. I'm just a mess, you guys. That's just where I live. I live in a mess. But anyway, so Naomi sent me, and this is like, I can't even tell you how pretty this yarn is. It is like this like golden yellow to like warm mauvey purpley color. It's a sock set. It's so pretty. So the big skein is called Pumpkin Spice. The mini is called Crunchy Leaves. This is the tweed sock set. So this is it's 84% super washable, 16% cotton acrylic Donegal. Very cool. And it came with this cute little Progress Keeper on the front there. So yeah, isn't this so sweet? And this is Felicity Yarn Studio, which is, I believe, her sister's yarn business. So I think her sister's name is Zoe. But yeah, I will link all that information below. But yeah, so pretty, right? She also sent me a little wooden sheep, which I put on my dresser because it's really cute. It's like a little cutout of a sheep. And then she sent me a bunch of these like light bulb shaped stitch markers, which are awesome. You can never have too many of these. So very, very happy mail. Thanks, Naomi. I'm super excited to knit some socks out of that. Haven't decided on a pattern yet, but I think that'll be something that I put in my planner. So my cousin, Venka, who lives in Norway, she sent me a box of knit. So she's also a knitter. Hi, Venka. And so she sent me a whole bunch of knitting stuff for Christmas. It was so exciting to open this box. It was just like, you know, it was very cool. Anyway, so let me show you what Venka got me. So first she got me a couple skeins of this Viking raglan yarn. And this is, let's see, I think it's worsted weight. But yeah, this is called Viking yarn. It says sock yarn on it, but this is not sock yarn. This is definitely worsted weight. Yeah, this is worsted weight. But yeah, isn't this cool? It's a 70-30 blend, so it does have nylon in it. And then she sent me, these are both by Drops Design, but she sent me 2 patterns for slipper socks to use with this yarn, which is so cool. So like, I'm like basically like all set to go. Like I have the pattern, I have the right yarn, and she even put them in these nice like plastic like sheet protector things. Like, man, this is when you know somebody's like a real knitter, right? When these little details they include. But anyway, so I'm super stoked about that. This is also going to be a new cast on very soon. So she sent me that. And then she sent me some little needle keepers. Super cute, right? And, oh, what did I do with the calendar? Hold on. She sent me a Christmas ornament, which I already packed away because it was on the tree. So can't show you that. But she made this calendar. So this is the farmstead, right? Sorry, my ring light is glaring there, but isn't that so cool? So she did this whole calendar. I won't show you guys all the pages because this is like kind of like family stuff, but yeah, these are all like photos that she took and she just made this whole calendar. So I got one of these. I'm super, super excited about this. So yeah, so that was super happy mail from Venka. Thanks, Venka. Yeah, so much happy mail. A couple more things, more happy mail. So Holly Beth from Sassenach Yarn Company sent me a Christmas card and she sent me this cute stitch marker / progress keeper. Isn't that sweet? Yay. Thanks, Holly Beth. So that came also. And then last but not least, Laura from Row One, which is it's a yarn subscription service, contacted me and asked me if I would like one of her monthly yarn boxes. And I was like, sure, of course, more yarn, sign me up. And she was kind of explaining, you know, what the subscription service was. And basically every month she sends out a box with 10 like mini skeins, and they all come from the same indie dyer. So every month you basically get introduced to a new indie yarn dyer, which is very cool. And I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool, but like, man, it's a lot of mini skeins and you got to figure out what to do with your mini skeins. And I'm not a big mini skein person, but when this came, I started to see how this is a really, really cool thing. So this is the little baggie, super cute, right? And in here are the mini skeins. So these are all from 29 Bridges yarns. And I will link all of this below. So she sends all of these mini skeins. So there's a whole bunch in here. This one's, we got Steady, Hot Metal, Front Row, Urban. I won't go through all of these, but so you get all of these, right? Now, as soon as I had all of these kind of laid out on the table and I'm looking at them and I'm like, man, I have so many ideas for color work right now. And this is so great because I have all of the actual yarn in front of me and I can kind of play with these and see how they work together. And that got me so excited. And I was like, you know, I never ever would have thought to do something like that, like have just a bunch of mini skeins, you know, so that I could really like plan out like a colorwork sweater. Like I really want to make the Jupiter crop. And this just got me like really excited looking at all of these different colors because there's like so many different like ways I could go with it. Yeah, so it got like my creative juices flowing in a way that I wasn't expecting, and it got me really excited. So, and also right now, especially when like, you know, so you can go to your local yarn store, right? But it's, I don't know, for me, like it's not the same right now because for me, the fun in going there is like, you know, meeting up with one of my knitting friends and going to the store and like chatting with people about like colors and types of yarn. And like, if you're picking out stuff for color work, you know, you lay a bunch of stuff out on the table and, you know, you talk to people about it, get opinions. Like it's a whole thing, right? Like at least for me, that's part of the fun. And I can't do that right now because most of those places are really small, right? So they only let like maybe 2 people in and they want you basically to come in and pick out your yarn and take yourself and your germs outside as quickly as possible, right? And not that I blame them for that because, you know, we're in a pandemic right now, but it, you know, I miss the experience. So this kind of gave me a little like mini version of that experience. Just being able to like play with the yarn and like think about color combinations and I don't know, just that whole like kind of creative process, but like in a little mini form. So that got me really excited. And I also really liked this way of like introducing you to a new indie dyer. And so I was on, you know, 29 Bridges website and she has a bunch of sweater kits, which I love. She has a beautiful sweater pattern that she knit in this color. Or no, not this color. This one, Brass Tacks. It's called the Brass Tacks sweater. Isn't this like the coolest, like goldeny yellow, awesome, like, oh, I just love it so much. And yeah, I don't know. I was just really surprised by how much I enjoyed this. So anyway, again, the company is called Row One. And she has an ongoing like introductory coupon code. So it's Hello20 for 20% off your first month. And I think the subscription is $36 a month. So it's you know, it's not too bad. So I mean, at least to try it for a month, right? This is like really fun. This would also be a really fun gift for somebody who really likes color work. I mean, or likes to do scrappy projects because, you know, if you're into that, then you can never have enough mini skeins, right? So yeah, that was just a really cool thing. So thanks again, Laura, for sending me this. This was really, really fun. And she sent a little extra baggie with tea and biscuits. And then she sent this cute little stitch marker. It says 2021. Cute, right? Yeah, like thoughtful extras like that. I think that's really sweet. So yeah, so that's it for Happy Mail. And I think that's it for the knitting content. So if that's all you were here for, then I will see you on the next one. Still love you. No judgment for bowing out before the chit chat portion. Like I said, things have been kind of a hot mess at home just because of my poor kid. And but we're working through it, and things are looking a lot better. It's just, oh my gosh, you guys, right now, like, first of all, like I said, you don't want to be anywhere near an ER. They're just an absolute cluster. And like trying to get a hold of like specialists or anything like that right now is just, oh my gosh, it's just so difficult. But I think things have turned around a little bit, so hopefully, yeah, he won't struggle so much, because oh my gosh, it's just miserable for the poor guy. But anyway, so that's pretty much the bulk of what's been going on. It has been very, very cold here and snowy. It's been snowing, and then it like does the weird like ice rain thing, so that's super fun. I have been working on quite a few like boiler installation projects, which are my favorite kinds of projects, and so that's been really good. It has been surprisingly busy. Now that the holidays are over, people are looking forward to like spring projects. So I do a lot of like AC installations in early spring, and then I usually start planning for summer boiler installation projects. I usually start planning those now so that we're ready to kick off, because a lot of the facilities where I do work, they're active schools, and so yeah, so we have to wait until the kids are out of school in order to do projects like that. But yeah, so I've been doing that at work. I have been reading a lot. I have been reading so much. Like I really kicked off this year like fully embracing like my bookworm tendencies. And you know, especially if you're spending a lot of time like in waiting rooms and for medical stuff, you know, reading is a good way to kind of get you out of your head and not be so worried. It also passes the time in a way that's not just endless scrolling on your phone. So I'm very close to finishing the Bone Witch trilogy, which if you like YA fantasy, highly recommend this series. It's a very different, so I feel like in YA fantasy, there's some pretty like common tropes, and this one is, the system of magic is very different, but what really made this one stand out, well, there were two things that really made it stand out. Number one, the author used a lot of like Asian influence, so like Asian culture, philosophy, like a lot of the storytelling, like the way that the storytelling unfolds. Like I don't want to like give anything away, because I didn't know anything about the series when I started it. I don't even remember how I came upon it or why I downloaded it to Audible, but it was really fun to like start a YA fantasy trilogy kind of thinking like you already know like how things are going to be. And like, you know, I feel like in YA fantasy there's a lot of like Nordic mythology influences and a lot of like Arthurian legends, you know, like King Arthur and the Knights and that kind of whole thing. A lot of Celtic like mythology, right? There's just a ton of that, and this was not that at all. And so it was really, really fun to watch or read that and have that unfold. So highly recommend that. It's the Bone Witch trilogy. I'm almost done. I almost don't want it to finish because I have a feeling the ending is going to absolutely tear me apart, and so I'm just kind of like avoiding the inevitable. So plus I just don't want the trilogy to end. I've been reading it for, you know, pretty much since I think before Thanksgiving, and I just kind of don't want to, I'm not ready to exit that world yet, I guess. The other thing that I really liked about it, the other kind of standout thing, was the way that the author included and talked about people who are of different genders, and like people who are either, you know, non-binary or trans, or, you know, just, I really like that it's not a book about that community and folks from that community, but it included folks from that community as being something that was just completely normal. And I loved that. Like it wasn't, it almost makes me sad that like that made the book special, because it included that as just a normal thing, that a normal way that people are, and they're just part of the community, the larger community. it's almost sad that was like, it made the book special that was done, but I was also just really, really glad to read that. It made me really happy. Like, one of the characters in particular, their name is Lick, and I loved their whole storyline. It was just so great. It was so great. And I loved how it was written and how it was treated, and yeah. So that was really, really cool also. What else have I been reading? Oh, so I bought so many books that came out last year that I am just now getting around to reading. And this one is totally Kevin's fault from Needles at the Ready, because he was talking about how he started reading Shadow and Bone, which is the first book of like the whole Grishaverse. And I realized, so I've read all of the books. I've read the trilogy, and I've read, Six of Crows and, those 2 books. And then last year she released a book called King of Scars, and I hadn't read it yet. And so I finished it in 2 days. It was that good. I was enraptured. Like, I just could not put this book down. And it helped that I was like, trapped in a hospital for like 24 hours. But yeah, it was just fantastic. So again, YA fantasy was kind of my jam. I love that stuff. And so I was really, really happy to see the Grishaverse continue on in this book. And it made me really, really excited for the next book. So excited. So excited. Yeah, it's going to be great. So I finished that. I started the next Outlander book, even though I really need to finish the Bone Witch trilogy, but I started the next Outlander book. I am going to continue with that series, even though it's a little steamier than I thought it was going to be. But anyway, so I started that one. I have been watching a lot of TV also, which is not my normal thing. I normally don't watch a lot of TV, but I think just because things have been stressful, I just need to be like in another world for a while. And so I've been watching a lot of TV. What have we been watching? Oh my gosh, we've just been watching so much stuff. We've been plowing our way through Schitt's Creek. Well, I think we're like halfway through season 5. So we've got a season and a half left of Schitt's Creek. We started this new series on Netflix, it's French. It's called Lupin, and it is about this guy who's sort of like an investigator / con artist. And it's so quirky and good and heartfelt, and there's like really good action, and like the overall like story arc is really, really interesting. But like each individual episode, I think we binged like 6 episodes in a row. It was great. I can't wait to see where this one goes. And the actor Omar Sy is, oh my gosh, he is just so great. He's one of those actors that like, not only is he just like a very just like beautiful person to look at, but he just makes you just want to like, I don't know, like you just want to like be his friend, and like, I don't know, very, very likable character. So I've really been enjoying that. I also have been watching Anne with an E, which is an updated version of the Anne in Green Gables series. And I realized as I've been talking about the show, I thought that Anne of Green Gables was something that like everyone read. Like I feel like you read that and you read the Little House on the Prairie series. But I guess that's just me. I guess not a lot of people have read this series, and like especially like in like generations, like I'm an elder millennial. Like I feel like people who are like regular millennials or like they don't even know what this is. But Anne of Green Gables was like huge. I loved it. Between like that and Little House on the Prairie, that was my jam. And so this is like an updated version of Anne of Green Gables. So again, they throughout the series, they address things like racism, and this series is set in the late 1800s, early 1900s. So, but they address things like racism, There's a character who comes out as gay. They just address like all of these things that are not part of like that time, like wouldn't have been addressed in that way in that time period. But they do a really good job of it, but they really also retain kind of the whole like Anne's character is kind of this dramatic Pollyanna type, you know, wild imagination kind of character, and they really like retain like the heart of that in this. It's just very rarely am I so happy with like an updated version of anything. Like I'm kind of an old fart, like I just like things in their original form. Like I don't like the things that I love to change. But I've been really, really enjoying that series. So I watched that, and I think actually that's it. I guess it's not that much TV. It feels like a lot of TV to me. Normally I'll watch, YouTube videos and listen to podcasts and stuff like that. But, yeah, that's kind of it. A bunch of people have asked me about wedding planning since I got engaged in December. I haven't done a darn thing, to be honest with you. I don't even know how to begin with this. I mean, it's like we have medically compromised people on both sides of the family. So we're trying to be, sensitive to that. But like, I don't want to wait too long because I'd like to be married and he would like to get married soon. So we're trying to find this sweet spot of like, so how long do we wait? When do we think everybody's going to be able to get vaccinated? But even if they are vaccinated, how comfortable are they with being with a bunch of other people? Or maybe we just want to keep it like really super small, but then, we don't want to leave out people that are important to it. It's just this whole thing. Like, I just don't even know where to start. So we've basically just kind of like had some conversations with our parents to try to gauge where, people are comfortable, and that's as far as we got. So I don't know what we're gonna do. We had talked about trying to go, so my fiance's family is all from Mexico. Abraham was born here, but yeah, everyone's from Mexico. And I would have really liked to get married in Mexico, where he's from, because the town is like this fairy tale place in the mountains. It's just like absolutely gorgeous. The whole place is just magical where he's from. And I would love to get married there, but I just don't think international travel this year is going to be feasible for most of the people that, we would want involved. So I just don't know. So yeah, I have done zero wedding planning other than just trying to figure out if we can even really get married this year, like have an actual wedding. I just don't know. Yeah. And I'm really sorry that it took so long to get this episode out to you all. I hope everyone has been doing well. Yeah, it just feels like it's been a really long time. I know it's only been a couple of weeks, but I just feel like I'm been really disconnected from the community. I haven't really been on Instagram. I've really been avoiding most social media, honestly, lately, just because everything that's going on in the world, like I have my own sort of drama unfolding in my little world. Like I just can't even let anything else in that's happening in the world right now, because it's just a lot. So I really just haven't been on social media at all. So if you've been messaging me or trying to get a hold of me again, like I'm really sorry. It's just, life is happening right now. All right, that's it. I think I'm done. Thanks everyone for sticking around and hanging out with me today. I have missed everyone. I'm really looking forward to getting caught up on podcasts and comments and just kind of like getting back into the community and interacting with people again. So yeah, I hope everybody has been staying safe and staying strong, and I will catch you all on the next one. So bye for now.
Yeah, darling, all my money, it's on me.